start the recording, and I'm going to share out my screen. Okay. All right, brothers, good afternoon. My name is Tony Harrison. I am a member of the Alexandria-Fairfax, Virginia alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi, and I currently serve as the Eastern Province Guide Right Chair. I am pleased to bring you a very brief overview of our Kappa STEM program, which is part of the National Guide Right Commission's Core 4. And then I'm going to bring two outstanding speakers to you, Brother Linwood, Weatherington, and Brother Robert Monroe, both of the Hyattsville, Landover, Maryland, Virginia alumni chapters. So let's kick this thing off. So if everybody can see my screen, just somebody give me one thumbs up. Got it. Okay. So as we discussed, STEM is one of the core 4 that we ask all chapters to get their Guide Right students involved in. So you'll see on the list, the Microsoft retail stores. Just got some unfortunate news that after COVID, they will not be reopening their retail stores. So we'll try to find some other opportunities with Microsoft available. We ask that you get involved with NSBE Jr. Utilize code.org for their free programming and training. Put together STEM career fairs that a lot of the chapters have done. Utilize edx.org for training. And you see my contact information there. All right, so as I mentioned, there's other ways to partner with Microsoft. Their employees sponsor a Minority Student Day. That's in several different countries, different cities around the country, Atlanta, DC, Philadelphia. So depending on where you are, that is available to you, and we'll get some information out when those dates come out later in the year. As I mentioned, our partnership with the National Society of Black Engineers, NSBE Jr., and what we're doing, an example of what we're doing today is trying to give you some hands-on training to give you to build your interest and exposure to STEM. And the NSBE and Kappa shared goals to graduate 10,000 Black engineers annually by the year 2025. So we're working together to build that pipeline. So a couple activities coming up later this year. National Cybersecurity Awareness Month is in October. The hashtags for this year would be Do Your Part and Be Cyber Smart. Kappa League and Guide Right are in that partnership. So there's a ton of resources and materials available for you with the cybersecurity awareness partnership with Homeland Security. National Cybersecurity Careers Week is November 9th to the 13th. We're going to have some outstanding speakers lined up for you. National STEM Day is November the 8th in 2020. And Computer Science Education Week, December 7th to the 13th. And take advantage of some of the opportunities that code.org offers, such as the Hour of Code. So if you're interested in learning coding and you're up for that challenge, please, opportunity is there for you. As well as edX, some of the higher level free online courses sponsored through some universities like Harvard, Berkeley, I've seen Michigan, MIT, and these are all free. So you just need to go onto that website, search for what you're interested in, and take some of those free courses. And a lot of the materials that we've done over the last few years, we've uploaded on our Kappa League TV in the Eastern Province. So please take the opportunity to look at those as well. So that being said, we're going to move on to our presentations. We're going to bring on Brother Linwood Weatherington. I'm going to stop my share and turn the screen over to, there he is, Brother Weatherington.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today, allowing me to present to you all. It is truly a privilege. We don't take these sort of events lightly, so it's definitely a joy to be here and present to you all. I want to let you see my face first. We're going to get into a brief exercise. I'm going to give you all a link here. So as Pastor would say, everyone within the sound of my voice, please go to this link. There is a code. And there we go. There's a code to put in. And the question is, what do you think of most when you think of cybersecurity? That's www.menti.com, code 83798. You can do that from a phone, a new window, however. But just go ahead there and answer those questions. All right. While you're doing that, I want to go ahead and get into my intro. All right, cybersecurity 065. Hopefully everybody can see these slides. 065 is just a clever security snarky way of saying cybersecurity 101. It's just a hex representation of that. My name is Linwood Weatherington. I am a cybersecurity evangelist today. That is the hat that I am wearing. You may wonder, what is a cybersecurity evangelist? A evangelist is somebody that goes out and preaches the word of cybersecurity. I speak to many people that aren't necessarily cybersecurity professionals. They may be developers, they may be training specialists, they may be executives, they may be managers. But because cybersecurity plays such a key role,
You want some
cybersecurity evangelism is a part of engaging those different groups. And that's why I'm here to speak to you all today. If you look at the bottom, there's also the mentee.com link with the code at the bottom. A little bit about myself. My name is Linwood Weatherington. I am a career IT professional. I attended the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University in Tallahassee, Florida. Brother Harrison mentioned some great schools on the education learning site. I just want to let you know that there are outstanding HBCUs that are also leading in tech. Florida A&M is actually an NSA Center of Excellence for Cybersecurity. So if you were looking for a school in that lane with those scholarships, that school, my alma mater, is one of those. I went to my master's degree in the University of Maryland Global Campus, I think is what we're calling it now, where I received my Master's of Science in Cybersecurity, basically. I've been a career defense contractor working around the Beltway. I've supported the Department of Defense as well as the Department of Homeland Security. Recently, I took my talents to the private sector, working for a company called Salesforce, a Fortune 500 company that is the largest CRM provider in the world. So a great experience for me there. All my alphabet soup and stuff like that is at the bottom. So what are we talking about today? Take a walk with me about cybersecurity, right? What is cybersecurity? Why is it important? Who are the players? And then where do I start if you did want to pursue a career in cybersecurity? But a lot of my recommendations are actually going to be applicable to any IT career field or any non-IT, any science career field that you want to go into. So this is somewhat discipline agnostic. However, there will be some cybersecurity specific recommendations in there. All right, so before we go to the next slide, let's see how our quizzes are going. Switch over there. All right, so we got some good responses. Protection is huge. Oh, still got answers coming in. Internet police, I like it. Secure, safety, protection, partnership, hacking. Everybody loves the hacking portion of it. Computers, it's pretty cool. A huge impact, electronic security, right? So really good trends, and all of this stuff is definitely applicable to cybersecurity because we essentially touch so much from an IT standpoint. Let's go back to the presentation. Oh, we still got answers coming in. I love it. I love it, guys. Okay. So what is cybersecurity? If you look up top, NIST gives its definition. NIST is it's a government agency, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. They're the ones that pretty much provide the rulers and the measuring stick for what things are. This is their definition of what cybersecurity is. And if you read this definition, it's very organization specific, right? If you have a business, if you own a corporation or something like that. But we all know, as consumers of information technology, that cybersecurity is bigger than that. You are your own cybersecurity professional in your house for your email and for your family and your little Verizon or Comcast router, right? So I have my own definition. I like my definition better because it's more applicable. The tools, methods, and policies used to protect my stuff, my reputation, and my privacy, right? Because that's essentially what this job is doing. It's protecting our reputation. We don't want to be on the news. We don't want to be doxxed. We don't want information that is about us that shouldn't be out there. I want my stuff to be protected. I don't want my credit card numbers out there. I don't want my license, my PII, things like that out there. Those are all core tenets of cybersecurity. And you will, at some point, whether you are a cybersecurity professional, a programmer, or you're the guy working the machine at Krispy Kreme, I promise you, cybersecurity will be a part of your career. So why is it important? Right? This is a trend analysis. This started in 2020 of how much data and how much information is changing. How much more are we putting in? If you go back to the .coms, which is a long time ago, even for me, that curve started to go up. Now exponentially, more and more data is going up there. We have a larger population, and now the younger population is 100% on a device on the internet. We're going to go into 5G, those sort of technologies. So much data and so much technology is going to be in that cybersecurity bubble there that it's only going to increase. More mobile users. Some of you might, I'm not sure, you might be even watching this on a phone for all I know. But everybody has a phone. Everybody has a device. I think I have 3 of them now, right? And there's data in there. There's credit card information. There's information to get into my job. All that information is on these phones now, right? And social media, right? Social media is even big. I mean, you guys probably have more social media accounts than me, and I have a lot. And I love my social media. You got your Twitters, your Facebooks, TikToks, I don't know, Imager, I think that's how you say it. There's so many different accounts, right? And there's information there. You can correlate that information. There's metadata about you. Who do you have a relationship with? And not a romantic relationship, but who is your bubble of friends? Who is your center of influence? Stuff like that matters. And companies pay big money for that type of information. If you wanted to go into data analytics, you could have an entire career on analyzing that sort of data for social media. We're going to go and do another one, another quiz time again. All right. Actually, before we get into that, I'll show you something cool. So we showed those data trends, but let's see what those data trends, what does that mean? This is a site from Akamai. Akamai is a content provider. They're a content delivery network. 70% of the internet, whether you've heard of them or not, goes through Akamai. This is one of their sites that shows traffic going, not just domestically, but also internationally. But this is malicious traffic, right? If you look at the bottom, this is malware, this is phishing, this is command and control. This is not a demo. This is not something I stood up myself to show you pretty pictures. This is active traffic that is going on right now. We don't know if it's nefarious or not, but based on the payloads and things like that, we can see active malicious packets being sent across the world. And there are careers associated with this, right? This is real life stuff. Oh, we got some more data coming in. It shows trends. I encourage you to go to this. FireEye has one as well. And you can kind of get an idea of what type of information is being sent back and forth, who's trying to DDoS whom, and what countries are doing the most potentially nefarious cyber traffic. Really great to take a look at. So in your free time, check that out. Okay. All right, so we have another one of these. Go to www.menti.com. There's a code there. Everybody within the sound of my voice, Kappa leaders, brothers, go check that out. There's a question. That question is going to be, what is the most vulnerable component in an information system? All right. Go ahead and do that, and we'll go through the presentation. So let's talk about who are the players in cybersecurity. Everybody knows about the hackers, right? The attackers, well, supposed to be the attackers. You got white hat hackers, you know, the good guys, the gray hat hackers who are kind of in between. They might have some sort of allegiance to somebody. Black hat hackers, these are the real bad guys that are out to get people. Red hats and mercs, but these are the hackers. There's so many different types of hats, and you can switch actually back and forth. Some people are defenders at night, well, the day job, and they're attackers at night. But you also have defenders, and that's the category that most of us are going to fall into. You have your security engineers, the guys setting up firewalls and all this great stuff. Architects, analysts, forensic red teams, developers, so on and so forth. But the main key I want to take away is it's everyone. If you have an IT job, you are going to be involved in cybersecurity. The ratio, depending on the company, is something like one cybersecurity professional to some places it's 10, some places it's 100. And those cybersecurity professionals like myself, I'm not a developer and a firewall expert and a encryption expert all at the same time. You will have to use those skills and learn cybersecurity. And this presentation is just trying to emphasize the importance of that. Risk management, these are the people that bring the operational side of cybersecurity and marry it up with the risk and the money, because all these threat vectors and vulnerabilities has to be communicated to someone. The CIO, the CEO, somebody saying, hey, I understand we're in trouble. We have vulnerabilities. How much is this going to cost me? Where do I spend my money? Am I secure? Risk management is all about that, taking operational risk and translating it into business decisions. Governance, we already talked about that. These are the people that make the policies, make the rules, tell us what is and what is not. Governance is great. There are careers all up and down this stack. Hacking is great. I encourage all of you to have that zeal for hacking and penetration testing, because it's only going to enrich you as a potential professional, but also understand that there are careers all up and down this stack. So this is where I get to the part where I tell you, recommendations on what to do to start your career, but this is not applicable just to cybersecurity, right? Become a pro. I always use NFL as an example for this. NFL players, all they really have to do is go to practice, go to the game, and not suck, right? That's their job. But there's more to being an NFL player than just doing that. You have to have a good diet. You have to go to the weight room. You have to be a good citizen on and off the field. Those things matter. And as an IT professional and as a cybersecurity professional, it's the same way. You don't go to work for 8 hours, you take that off, you go home and you do something else. You have to immerse yourself into this technology. Brother Monroe is going to come in. He's going to talk the same thing. These are the things that are going to make you a good pro. Take that not just in cybersecurity and IT, but wherever you go, that's in STEM. Consume your own knowledge. Don't just read it in a book and go pass a test. Apply it. These other tenets I'm about to tell you, consume that knowledge. Take what you learn, build your own lab, create your own tools, learn how to program, right? A hacker is not waiting to go to college. A hacker is not waiting to take a class to hack. They're learning this stuff right now, and you guys can learn that right now, and I encourage you to, because it's only going to make you a better pro. Formalize your understanding. Take that knowledge, get certs, get degrees, get those things that are on paper that's saying, yes, I know what I'm talking about, because it matters. While it may not matter from an operational standpoint or from an academic standpoint, when you go to talk to HR people and people who are writing the checks, they want to see pretty letters after your name. That's what formalizing your understanding is about. Find a mentor. That's what we're for. Reach out to any one of us. Hey, I want to learn more about cybersecurity, so on and so forth. That's what we're here for, to help you on your journey and to also build relationships. Relationships are one of the most important things in your career, no matter where you're at. You always need people to help you get from point A to point B. No one does this alone. I know I didn't. I know most of the people on this call did not. So please leverage these resources and leverage these relationships that we have. Formal resources, these are some places where you can go to learn about it absolutely free, right? SecurityTube.net. You want to learn how to hack SSL? They have a whole course up there on how to do that. Please do not use any of those tools to hack any sites. That is illegal. But there are sites like BWAP where you can go and you can hack those sites. They're perfectly legal to do, where you can practice your trade craft for cybersecurity, and you'll learn a lot, and it'll be great fun. If you want to know an operating system, do that. Linwood, what tools? What tools can I get? Kali Linux. Kali Linux, formerly Backtrack, is an operating system dedicated completely to penetration testing, right? Download that. Great tools, social engineering toolkit, all of that great stuff is on it, and you can use that to legally penetration test, assess other sites. Great tool to have. Also, if you need virtual resources, build your own lab. Azure, AWS, VirtualBox, all free on a minimal level for you to go and start to build out your own assets, build out your own labs. And I will tell you, as a former program manager, there's nothing more impressive than seeing on paper that somebody is a professional, but also these are the things that I've implemented at home because I love what I do and I've honed my craft. Those sort of things, they resonate and they stick out on a resume. Let's go back and take a look at our quiz, our Quizlet. All right. Come up for me. All right, we got some good stuff here. Let's see. Private information, the people using it, protection, email and data, hard drive, passwords. Ha! I tricked you guys. The other group, they were a little bit wary of my tricks. So it is somewhat of a trick question, right? The most critical and the most vulnerable component of an information system is the person. It is the user. You cannot patch us. You cannot upgrade us. You cannot reset us and install a new LS. Most people, most hackers, most hacking teams, most Russian criminal organizations, they focus on the person and not the tech. The tech is so strong now. It's easier to send my dad a Groupon link where he thinks he's getting cheap socks, and he clicks on the link, and now they have access to his computer. That's much easier than brute forcing a firewall. So if anybody ever asks you that in the future, just remember Linwood gave you a free one. People is always the answer. We are always the most vulnerable portion. Thank you. That's my time. I don't think we have any time for any questions, but yeah.
Yeah, we're going to move on. I know we got a 5 o'clock hard stop. I'm going to bring on Brother Monroe. I'm going to share my screen out. And
so as the screen is loading, good afternoon, gentlemen. I want to say if you have any questions for Linwood, Weatherington, just put your questions in the chat, right? This is a very interactive, free-flowing session. Just because his presentation is over doesn't mean that the information that he shared can't be consumed by you. I'm also dropping into the chat three URLs rather, that you guys can use. I'm sharing them at the end of the presentation, but what good is it seeing if you can't copy it and use it? So good afternoon, my name is Robert Monroe Jr. I'm from Fort Washington, Maryland, and Prince George's County, Maryland. I'm a Hyattsville, Landover, Maryland alumni, chapter Kappa Alpha Psi, Fraternity Incorporated. Earned my Bachelor's of Science, Master's of Science from Morgan State in Baltimore, GW, George Washington in DC. Currently, Department of Education as an IT specialist, focused on information security. So a lot of the details and techniques and threat vectors that Mr. Weatherington mentioned, it's very familiar with me and some of the things that I have to be aware of and apply in my day-to-day job. Next slide, please. So today I want to present to you, gentlemen, about artificial intelligence and machine learning. We're just going to start with a very brief definition of artificial intelligence, which based on some history says that it kind of originated in the era of 1956 upon the end of the World War II. Please check out these definitions. I'll just focus on one. Please read all four. I'm looking at number 2. The art of creating machines that perform functions that require intelligence when performed by people. I like that definition. But I also want to inspire you, gentlemen, with something that Mr. Weatherington mentioned, which was he created his own definition of cybersecurity because he feels it's better than what is even presented. So I want you guys to always take that talent and elevate yourself above what is just presented to you. If you can think of something better, that is applicable and it actually works, then apply it and make it happen. Next slide. Machine learning. So you hear artificial intelligence and machine learning as if they're two of the same. No, artificial intelligence is a core branch of computer science. Machine learning, a core trunk of computer science. Machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence. So for machine learning to even work, you're already employing artificial intelligence techniques and tools to make that happen. So it says it originated around 1952 by Arthur Samuel. Who knows? You know, people write their own history, but that's what I was able to gather from just a little bit of brief research. Got a couple definitions here. I like the third definition. Machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence based on the idea that systems can learn from data, identify patterns, make decisions with minimal human intervention. So pretty cool. Now that we've set that foundation, and feel free to look up more information as you see fit. Next slide. Just want to make machine learning and artificial intelligence real to you young men, right? It's not something that sits in a laboratory at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory in Berkeley, California, somewhere that you got to have a super secret access card to get to. No, machine learning and artificial intelligence is in your home right now. The Roomba vacuum cleaner, right? If I have a house that's 2 or 3 stories and I let the Roomba vacuum cleaner go and clean and vacuum the floor, well, what if it gets to a stairwell and it doesn't recognize that it shouldn't proceed past that point? It's going to fall down the stairs, break, and you done wasted $500, right? So these people at Roomba, they were smart. They said, okay, we got to figure this out. Apply some machine learning techniques, and some things they had to even create. It may not even existed. Computers, IBM Watson, famous supercomputer that they use, and people pay IBM to use this supercomputer to input various problems that are mathematical in nature, and hope for output that will help them make better decisions and figure some things out. And that's fundamentally what we refer to as research. Automobiles, this one I think you all can relate to the most, Tesla, right? You've heard Teslas have an autopilot feature. I mean, this is big deal. This is heavy duty stuff, right? I don't have a Tesla, so I trust myself to drive. But if someone is in their Tesla on the road and they're using the autopilot feature, Tesla has to make sure that that feature works just as well as you as an individual driver would, or even better. Or otherwise, it'd be huge lawsuits and it'd be no good. So artificial intelligence and machine learning are 2 important areas of our lives. Next slide, please. A few other things just to make it real for you guys. John Madden football, you play the computer. Now all of these games are connected to the internet. So it's so easy for, when you play the computer and not necessarily one of your friends online, then you notice sometimes it gets a little tougher, it gets a little harder, because it'll learn your style of play, Call of Duty. So I think this is kind of making it real for you guys. I want you to take some time. If AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning are areas that pique your interest, I want you to Google NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. I went out there in 2010 for my job. It was an awesome experience. They actually have an artificial intelligence group. They focus on doing work. If you look at those areas bolded in blue, that's what they do. And even home appliances. What's the new thing now? Hey, Siri, do this. Siri, do that. And it's funny. I just said, Siri, do this, do that. And my phone recognized that. I'm like trying to activate it, right? So over time, Siri will learn your tone. It will learn that if you're, whether the person speaking is a man or a woman. So that is artificial intelligence and machine learning at work, at play, in our daily lives. Next slide. We're going to take a few minutes, guys, and engage in an activity. It's called the number game. So what we're going to simulate, if it was just me and one of you, and I said, hey, let's see who's in the room. Let me find somebody. I just want to say, I say, hey, Anthony Bradley, pick a number between 1 and 100. And don't answer. I'm just using you as an example. And you pick your number. You don't tell me, right? My job is to guess your number in as few tries as possible. Now, in reality, and I want you guys look at number 1, number 2, and number 3 on the screen. Go to the chat and put which strategy you believe is the best. As I continue to present, put the strategy that you think is the best from 1, 2, and 3. With that being stated, you could easily guess 1 to 100 to say, well, is your number 1? No. Is it 2? No. Is it 3? No. 4? You can go all the way through 100 numbers until you hit that 1, and they're like, yep, you got it. But that's not efficient, right? We want to get it in as few tries as possible. Go into the chat, guys. Which strategy is the best? Look at the screen. Picking a number between 1 and 100. Read those 3 strategies and let me know which one is the best. We'll take 20 seconds for that. Participate, guys. Engage. I'm engaging you. Participate. Which one is the best? 1, 2, or 3? Put your thinking caps on. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, right? We're simulating some things, engaging you guys. All right, everybody's saying 3. Interesting. Next slide. You guys are right. Strategy number 3 is the most effective, efficient strategy that we can employ to guess a number between 1 and 100. And that's just 2 humans, right? But what if we wanted to automate it and use a computer, right? So next slide, we're going to artificial intelligence and kind of combining that with software development. And we'll try some things. Got a few minutes, we're gonna make it work. So taking the same thing, the number game, picking a number between 1 and 100. I want you to look at this oval, and have a lot of different words and symbols. You see minimum, odd, even, false, true, do, while, then, if. You got an equal sign, greater than, less than. So we got some things to work with. My goal is to ask you guys, hey, if you could take the words that are provided in this oval and the symbols and create what we refer to as pseudocode. So you may hear some of your friends sometimes say that, oh, I'm coding in Python, right? I'm not asking you to code in Python or Java. Pseudocode is I'm reading it, a notation resembling a simplified programming language. So what we just want to do is design what we would use Python to code up, right? But we gotta make some sense of it. So let's go to the next slide, because I'd rather take some time to explain to you what you guys are seeing, and still keep your thinking caps on. I want you guys to think. So what we're looking at is referred to as pseudocode. Again, it's not Java, it's not Python, it's not C++, but it has logical flow that we could use one of those software coding languages to create this number game. And that's what we're going to go through. So let's look at the screen and we'll flow through this pseudocode. We have minimum 1, which is MIN, min, which stands for minimum, equals 1. We have max, which stands for maximum, equals 100. So we have set these 2 variables. That is our range, okay? So here's 1, here's 100. Finished equals false. So let's look at that next statement. While, and the exclamation point means not. So while not finished, which means that this program that we're going to run is not finished until we guess the right number. When we guess the right number, or in this case, the computer, then it's finished and it's done. And you'll see at the end, it'll print good job. So while not finished, we have another variable named my guess equals a random number between minimum and maximum. So let's say my number is 73, right? That's the number I picked. And the computer's going to have to guess it, but it's going to employ some techniques, right? So my number is 73, and the computer is going to output to a screen to say, is it my guess? So let's say it outputs 22. And I'll type on the keyboard either true, it is, or false. Or in this case, actually, if I type in correct or not correct. So once I type that, hit enter, if the response is correct, that means that the answer is true, right? The computer has guessed 73 and it'll go right to print good job. However, if that is false, then we see an else, right? So else, we have another if statement. If the response is too large, then we're going to subtract 1 from that original guess. And if that's not it, right? So with the sake, for the sake of time, I'm going to kind of wrap it up, but I want to still let you guys know what we're looking at. The goal is to eliminate a range of numbers as you're trying to guess. So my guess is 73, and you say, hey, Rob, is your number 55? And I say, nope. You have the opportunity to say, was your number higher or lower than 55? I say it's higher. So now you can eliminate 1 through 55, no longer consider those numbers. And from 55 on up to 100, that is the new range that you're going to try to figure out what my number is. And as we go through the Q&A process, you'll eventually get that number. So this is a small, short game credited to a gentleman by the name of Joshua Ho. The URL here at the bottom, if you guys want to check that out. And go through that yourself. And I'll also paste that URL in the chat. So I hope that was interesting to you guys, just to get you to think a bit. Next slide. So I want to round this out, and we are at the top of the hour, so I'll be very brief. Mathematics are fundamental areas of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Here is my artificial intelligence textbook from Morgan State. It's 1,069 pages. It's one of the courses I took, got an A in it, so not happy about that. It was a fun course. But I had to have my foundation in Algebra 2, calculus, probability and statistics, numerical mathematical methods. What I want you guys to know before we get kicked out of here is there are STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I even like to lump in physics to that, because physics is its own beast. And it's a beautiful area of study. I have 3 internships here that are meant for high school students. No matter where you live at in the country, the USA, these are opportunities that you can delve into. So with STEM and physics, artificial intelligence and machine learning are areas that interest you. You don't have to wait till you start college to begin gaining your experience. And there are more programs. These are just some major companies. So MITRE is a research, not-for-profit research company. They're a little bit different. I did my best to explain who they are, but they are major players in global STEM work, especially in the United States of America. The National Security Agency, they have a high school work study program, which is phenomenal. I've seen it at work. They have some great students that come in that program. Good thing with that is you also get a clearance too. So as you can grow your education and career, you already have a great asset that will allow you to earn more money and more notoriety. NIST, Mr. Weatherington mentioned, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. They have a summer high school intern program. So I encourage you, gentlemen, to involve yourself, learn. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. I'm available on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can find me, or even contact your Kappa League lead and let them know if you have questions for myself or Mr. Weatherington, and they'll get in contact with us, and we'll be able to communicate and answer your questions. So with that, I'll take any questions if you guys have them, and questions for me or Mr. Weatherington. And I'll let Mr. Harrison, Tony Harrison, you can close it out. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Brother Monroe.
Yes.
This is Edgar Rayford, San Antonio guide, right? When you talk about these internship programs, knowing that the pandemic that we're facing now, how would these students be able to go into the work study or internship program?
Well, that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I don't even think that's anything the students should worry or be concerned about. That's something that the companies are figuring out, because they have to stay engaged with the youth. And I can guarantee that those programs are still active. So let's take NSA, for instance. If someone applied for the high school work study program during this pandemic, I'm sure that they will still go through the proper procedures to have that person come in and interview with social distancing in play. Making sure that it's not a lot of people around. Same thing if they go in for their polygraph, to make sure that social distancing, washing hands, things of that nature. And they may just put them into a telework status, perhaps. So nonetheless, I think that it's something that students shouldn't be concerned about. But it's a question that they should ask these employers as well, these internship providers. But I just don't want it to discourage them from applying. That's my point.
Okay, I get it. I'm just thinking, because if it was something that had to be hands-on, how would they do that? But to your point, don't worry about it. They'll work that out.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. And honestly, our Kappa League students, I mean, these are the great minds that they actually probably were ahead of the ball game with social networking and the Zoom. Man, they've been doing it with Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat for a couple years prior to when now we're relying on it to do our daily jobs. to maintain our way of life. So I really feel like our students would empower, that opportunity and take it to the next level. And it probably would even make the employers realize, like, wow, our new high school work study students have taught us some things about working remote. And these are some things that we're now going to make reality for our full entire, whether it's a department, agency, or company.
That's a great question. Any other questions in there? And
Yeah, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but are these 3 internships, are they for like during the school year or like over the summer? And if they're like during the school year, how is that going to work with like Corona and like how the schools will be changed?
Sure. That's another great question. Some of them are during the school year and some of them are during the summer. However, this is why you all are in Kappa League, because we're teaching you gentlemen to not only be great scholars, but we're teaching you to be great young men, to become great men. As a scholar, we want you to be so strong academically that you now create opportunity and time to do other things. And that's why it's important to study hard, study strong, study smart. So if you would like to have an internship to complement your high school studies, you're still maintaining your GPA of honor roll, and maybe you're playing basketball, football, or lacrosse, or maybe you're involved in these different things. And I promise you, people who, they will work it out for you. So I still encourage you to apply, put your name in that bucket, and let these people work it out for you. And it's just like our Kappa League conference that we're doing today. We didn't cancel it. We worked it out so you guys could still participate and we could still deliver this content to you. Let the people figure it out. You still apply and go for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a great question. It looks like we still have 4 minutes on the clock. So again, if there are any other questions, put them out there now. We definitely will be able to, in conjunction by contacting your Kappa League advisors, your guide right advisors, the internships and opportunities, scholarships that we come across, because, all of our jobs, I work for Northrop Grumman. We've got internships available, but we want to make sure that we get that information to you. So, but the key is what we're trying to really get across is that the opportunities out here are limitless for you, but you have to just be willing to, step up to the plate and take advantage of these opportunities. Because, we've got brothers all over the country. I know in the last session, we had some from California, Louisiana. So, the opportunity is there, but just consider the brothers of Kappa outside is that resource for you. There was a comment about, virtual. I think I've been working, from home for the last 4 months. And the only time I really had to go into the job was when one of my firewalls froze. I had to turn it off, turn it back on, but I was out in 15 minutes. So virtually we're able to do everything, for the most part, depending on what your job is, unless you're dealing with physical hardware. I think companies are finding out how productive people really can be working from home, where, years ago it was, if we work from home, how do we know they won't work? Well, if you're on Skype, they're monitoring your Skype usage and things like that. So there's opportunities there, but you guys, and I don't know if we have mostly seniors on this call or juniors, but for those of you who are, since we were talking about internships, if you are a senior and you're going into college, I think the first thing you should do is not wait until your junior, senior year to get in contact with your career services department, because they will have information on scholarships and internships now. So you want to go in that freshman year, establish that 3.0, and then those companies will, they'll be looking for you. The pipelines, particularly now with the way things are going, companies who may have not been looking at different universities, they're really opening their eyes to be diverse and making sure that, the Florida A&Ms and the Morgan States and the Norfolk States who are on these NSA programs and certified and things like that, that, they're building pipelines now. I'm telling you that for sure because I'm seeing it, in our employee resource groups. We deal with it at work all the time. So you guys, I think with Brother Monroe, Mr. Weatherington hit on in their presentations today were really some of the areas of greatest need and opportunity for you, the artificial learning, machine learning, those types of things. So, whether you may not have heard of it before, these are things you really want to look into. That's where the jobs and careers are. And I'll let Brother Weatherington and Monroe have the last minute here.
I want Brother Weatherington to close. I want to share something with you guys briefly. We're using Zoom. Zoom hit the stock market, I think, earlier this year or late last year. That stock has risen 5-fold since it hit the market. Zoom technology is so new. So when we talk about Microsoft and NSA, 30 seconds, I got you, Brother Weatherington, and Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin. You can create your own Northrop Grumman and Lockheed and Microsoft. We want to get you in the door with these companies, but I also want you to think bigger and be able to create your own as well. Brother Weatherington, please close it out.
Learn to build relationships. As you excel in your career, you will find less and less people that may look like you. And as you do that, you need to have a good, sound understanding on how to build relationships so that you can continue to rise that ladder. Please do that. Use Kappa League. Use LinkedIn with us. It's very, very important. Extremely important. That's all I got.
All right. 50 seconds. Any questions?
Well, as we close out, I want to thank Brother Monroe, Brother Weatherington, all the Kappa League advisors that are on the line right now, and especially you young men who have taken time today to be with us. There's a beautiful weather out there. There's a lot of things you could have been doing, but you're taking this time to invest in your future. And I just want you to know that we're here for you. It's just, you got so much to look forward to in your careers ahead of you. There's so much out there. Just really take advantage of anything. And if you got questions, just reach out to us.
Oh, 6 seconds. I got a note. Build a path for others to follow.
Almost ready, sir.
Good.
Almost back.
Okay. So